I'm Anil Kumar. Here is a test question for you. You need to state the quadratic equation from the given data, sketch and label the parabola. You can pause the video, answer the question, and then look into my suggestion. Now, this is normally the first question in a test paper where you need to state quadratic equations, sketch them, and label them. Data for us is x and y coordinate points are given. -4, -7, -3, -10, -2, -11, -1, -10, 0, -7, 1, -2. Now in such a case, sketching is not a problem. Points are given on the graph paper, you can make a scale and sketch it. Very simple, right? Since you have 6 points here, so this is giving you a good parabola. Remember to put arrows at the end, since the y values, they will move in this case downwards, right? So this parabola is opening downwards. Okay, so let's make a rough sketch for this to begin with, and then we will actually state the equation and do the needful, right? Now from the data points, it seems that this point here is the axis of the parabola, right? Since that is the minimum value, right? This is the minimum value. All other values are higher than -11. So basically we do have a parabola which is opening upwards. So let me sketch one parabola here. Okay, let me do it here itself, right? So we'll sketch it here. We'll sketch a parabola which is moving upwards. I'm not using any scale or graph. Okay, so when I sketch this parabola, I notice that we have an axis which is at -2. So this is how I think. So I'm just sharing my thoughts with you. We'll answer the question later. So on the sketch, we see this point is -2, -11, right? As we move up, -3 is on the left side, -1 is on the right side. So we get a point which is 1 unit to the right. But it is moving up by how many units? 1 unit. So it moves, this step is 1, right? And so we reach here. Let me write this point as -3, -10. And next step is 3 units. So next step is, let us say this is the next step. So we have -4 and -7. So next step is 3 units. So so we kind of have our sketch here. Now let us begin to answer these questions one by one. So what we'll do here is we'll first analyze whether the given information represents a parabola or not. So we can find the first difference. First difference is y2 minus y1. So if I do -10 minus of -7, I get -3, right? And -11 minus 10 will give me -1, -10 minus of -11 gives me +1, and -7 minus 10 gives me +3, and -2 minus 7 gives me +5. So that is the first difference, and clearly first difference is not constant, right? So we'll find the second difference now. So the second difference for us is, so I'm writing this first difference, this is second difference. So this time -1 minus of -3. So -1 minus of -3 gives me +2. +1 minus of -1 is +2. 3 minus 1 is 2. 5 minus 3 is 2. Now since the second difference is constant, what do we infer? So we can write down what we've got here. So second difference is constant. And it is equals to 2, right? Second difference is 2. This really gives us a couple of informations. It is +2. So it tells us 2 things. Can you tell me what 2 things we get from here? Yes, one is it opens upwards. Opens upwards. Perfect. This is what we see from the graph. Second is the value of a. Value of a is 2 divided by 2. The constant difference divided by 2, which is 1. Do you see that? The value of a normally gives you steps, right? So normally in a parabola, the steps are, let me share with you the knowledge about steps. Okay, so let me just draw a dot here and then we'll write steps. In a parabola, normally the steps are 1, 3, 5, 7 and so on times a, right? So the steps in this case will be 1 time, a is 1 time 1, 3, 5, 7. So what I'm trying to say here, if you move from the axis to the next point, the first step which you take is 1 up. Do you see this is from minus 10 to minus 11, 1 up. And the second step is 3. So that shows that the value of a is 1, correct? So from the steps you can get the value of a. If you sketch the graph, you're getting the idea, right? So that is how it is. Now let's get back to finding equation. So the question is, state the quadratic equation from the given data. So that's the main thing which we want to do. So now we have a lot of information to find the quadratic equation, right? Now to find the quadratic equation, since now we know the vertex, best way to find quadratic equation is use the vertex in this step, and directly we say y equals to a is 1. So generally equation is y equals to a times x minus, sometimes you write h whole square plus k. In that case, what we have seen that the vertex is minus 2 minus 11, so therefore we could write this as, and a is 1, so we'll write 1 here, so no need to write 1, x minus of minus 2, we'll make this as plus, right? Minus of minus 2 whole square, and the k value is minus 11. So that becomes the equation of this quadratic function, which represents the data here, right? So that is one way to go about. Other ways to find is to use the 0, right? And 2 more points, right? So we could use 0 and 2 more points to find the equation. So let me write down the alternate way of doing it. I'm not going to find the equation using alternate method, but that is for you to explore. I prefer this method, right? So I hope you are absolutely clear about how to find equation. So alternate method is, every quadratic equation is written in the form of y equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Now we have 3 unknowns. To find these 3 unknowns, we need 3 points, correct? So we need 3 points. I think the good points are definitely to use x as 0, because x as 0 gives you y-intercept, which is minus 7. So the first point which I'll consider is 0 and minus 7. Substitute this point, get one equation. The second point which I'll consider is the points which are very close to this, right? So one difference is good point. So minus 1, minus 10, and then I'll also use minus 2, minus 11, right? So you could use these points. You'll get 3 different equations. Solve these equations to find a, b, and c and get the answer, right? That answer will be in standard form, correct? So that is how you would actually find the equation of parabola from the given data. But it's all up to you, right? So in this case, since we can clearly identify the vertex, vertex form is best. So let me write very clearly here. Best method will be use vertex form, like I have used here, right? And get the equation in simple steps without any calculation. I hope that helps. Thank you and all the best.